Good morning. John had caught me, and so did Shane, I think, before I had actually remembered to switch to the starting soon page. So yeah, no sound for that moment because didn't intend to be on screen at that moment. Um, Matter of fact, I'm probably not even set up best for that. There we go. Now I won't be muffled as much. I was still actually setting up my sound. Let's see, what am I missing, if anything? You know what I'm missing? I'm missing a fire in my forge, and there's a reason for that. You can see the tail up in the two. Let me see if I can do this right. Up in the corners here. I have not been a good solid fuel smith, and have not been maintaining my forge. Now, uh, people out there who have not smithed, they're like, maintain your forge. You're just building a fire, right? And the answer is, yeah, but that sounds simpler than it is. And I've got the gamma turned up on my. Um, Good morning, Thomas. I have the gamma turned up on my forge right now, so that you can see in there a bit. As a matter of fact, it's a bit dark out here today. I should turn on another light just to make the smithy a little bit more illuminated. There's that one. Hey, look at that. Now I cast shadows. So I'm not a vampire. I think that's how that works. But yeah, if I can, I will throw a little more light on the situation right now. That was a mess. It, of course, was full of my fuel. That makes sense. But it was also full of coal dust. And most importantly, it was full of, you can, I wonder if you're able to see that, the inner workings there. There's, I'm going to go ahead and keep it at a 3. All right, so what you can see is I need to do some repair in here. I've got a broken fire brick here, not that big a deal. I've got a broken fire brick here. That starts to be a big deal. That fire brick starts crumbling and starts becoming just forge clinker. And so I've got to pull this brick out and put a new one in. This one's looking like it's getting into the same situation. So that's some work I need to do, but we can survive the day without doing that. Because I don't want to take the forge hood off and do that stuff right now. I'd like to actually work in the fire. But first we have to get a fire, and before I did that, I pulled out all of my coked up coal and the leftover coal in the back, and found a ton of clinker. And that's what you're seeing on the anvil face. Let me sure for that one. So the clinker that's up front closest to the camera is the clinker that was blocking my airflow. And that's where, another part of forge maintenance comes in, and that is you got to have airflow or you're not going to have hot fire. And all of this was blocking up, was either stuck on the let me pull it, bring it in here. A whole fistful of clinker. Let me switch again. Whole fistful was blocking airflow. So that goes into my collection of dragon snot. But you see there's another pile there. I'll bring it closer to the camera. And that was another fistful that was just riding in the fire, which becomes a heat soak. So makes it harder to heat up the large material like this hot cut hardy that's in the works, right? So if you don't get a good heat on that, it's hard to forge. So that's part two. Was get all that was what I found first. But once I got that out of there, and you can hear it. Listen to this. It clinks. Thus the name. We're real inventive here in the blacksmith community. We save our skills, our skills for making pretty things, not talking about it. So now I think I'm long past due with doing a light the forge fire anyway. So let's light a forge fire. Light the forge fire video, I should say. So first thing we'll do is go ahead and get some charcoal. Let me go ahead and switch back over to the Smithy view. I'm going to go ahead and relocate my camera a little bit. There we go. Now I'm going to use a tried and true, some paper. In this case, rolled up into a kind of a donut so that there's no nothing getting in the way of the ability for the fire to breathe. Because the next thing I'm going to do is throw some charcoal on the side. Why charcoal? It's not necessary. Right, it's not necessary if you're not a blabbermouth and are sure that you're never going to let your coals go out. But if you put some charcoal in there, you're certain of it. There we go. Get that paper burning. Then we just start adding some air in there. Makes the paper burn hotter. Hot enough to catch charcoal on fire. Morning, Rob. Now there. I have been a really pretty decent talker myself. I'm trying to build the other skill. I've been wondering the same thing, Thomas. I don't know if clinker's good for anything. Just like forge scale. I mean, I'm sure there's something. Like forge scale, you can make ink with. So we'll go ahead and set my bucket of charcoal. I'm needing to replenish that. The next thing I need to do, I'm pretty sure my charcoal is starting to get caught. So I'm going to go ahead and add back the coke fuel that I've got, and we'll see it's going to start to smoke, just in case I got some volatiles in there. Give some air. Won't take much. Those volatiles will catch, and the rest of it catches. And thankfully, due to a video series I watched called Blacksmith School, sadly no longer in production, William Bastus created. I now know if I don't want my coal burning up as fast and coking up better, and I properly wet my coal. So I've got, and he actually did it, so I did it too. He actually creates a coal slurry. Which I'll bank behind it. A lot of smoke now because there must have been some coal in that coke. There we go. Make a hole, let it catch. Oh no, Kevin. Well, thanks for stopping in. Traction, I've had to do that a time or two. Okay. Clinker to harden dirt roads. Scale, mix it with cast iron to drop the carbon content in the cast iron because the scale is very heavy in oxygen. Interesting. Nice fire going there. All right, let's go ahead and fix the Depth Tech camera. Doesn't need to have that high a gamma anymore. Color correction, defaults. Matter of fact, we can make it dramatic by dropping the gamma a little bit. All right. That actually looks a lot closer to what I see anyway. Let's get the rest of that in there and then bank some coal and then let's start purging. There. Now the one thing I did that might have been a mistake was I actually didn't filter out the coal dust. Or coal ash, if that was what it was. I just put it in there, threw water in it, mixed it up. And so that might have been a mistake. I'll know as I see if there's a lot more clinkers in the process. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and put a little coal on the sides. That'll coke up first, I believe, just like stacking wood on the V would result in charcoal. So this is an unusual forge. For those who come along to this channel, this is not what most people expect when they see a coal forge. That's because it's not a coal forge. It's a charcoal forge. More exactly, it is a wood forge. A forge designed to take wood that you've built a fire at the bottom with ahead and get this. There we go. We built a fire at the bottom with it, and stacked wood up along the sides of the V. And that wood. Happy birthday, Kevin's mom. Oh, that's right. Thanks for the reminder. Yeah, so this is a wood burning forge. The wood on top of, it's a V-shaped forge. And it's got a long tweer that isn't just a, feeding air to one spot like a bowl, which is what's typical in a charcoal forge. Pot, they call it. But if you're doing like a dirt box forge, it would be a bowl-shaped kind of pot. But it's a pot. It's the forge pot. This forge pot is long, V-shaped. So most coal forges are also V-shaped, but they're V-shaped in two directions. So, and you put your coal in that, force air up through it, but then you forge on top of that area, in the bed that the rest of your coal sits. This doesn't have that. Instead, it's a big V shape, and it's a big V shape because normally you're stacking. Turn my hand in the right way. You're stacking wood. You've got your fire down here, and you're stacking wood up here. And that fire will cook the wood into charcoal. So I basically am leveraging the same technique, except I'm cooking I am cooking coal instead of wood. Let's get this in there. Let's get ourselves started with another hook for my brother. And let's not use a new piece of steel. Let's use one that's already been forged once. There we go. We're just going to lay it on top. I'm going to go ahead and I need to modify this rake into something more appropriate soon. That tool isn't quite a necessity yet. And we'll go ahead and start getting this thing heated up to actually forge. Go over here. We'll grab a hammer. I think I'm going to go lightweight today, just to mix things up. This piece of material doesn't need a heavy hammer, and I don't need carpal tunnel. Silly camera, come back online. Put my physical hack back on here again. Some of you know what I'm talking about. Let's get it a better, that isn't horrible. Let's get it here. Let's see how my hand looks on it. Good enough. I think you'll be able to tell what I'm doing there. Good morning, Alexis. Look at the whole blacksmithing Ohana has shown up this morning. All right, not too deep in the fire. Let's get the part I want hot instead of the part I don't want hot. Starting out as a good Saturday. It's an overcast Saturday here. It's a perfect place for vampires at this point. I don't know if you guys know, but Forks is just up the road from me. A couple hours drive, but we inherit their weather pattern. Don't do that. Knock off the corners. I was watching somebody, what's the name of his channel? He's going over the new Abana coursework so that he can become an instructor. And he talked about proper hammer technique. Good topic. And I don't have it. I'll admit to it. I've got some of it, but I don't have a great hammer technique. I don't lift my hammer up nearly as far as I should. But when you're working this little stuff, it isn't all that important to do so. Yamas has been slacking. Well, he's had reason, right? Good morning, Daniel. Let me just pull up, because I hate talking about Smith's efforts and appropriate efforts and then not being able to give proper credit. So I've already mentioned William Bastos and learning some stuff from him over the last couple of weeks. Let me see if I can tell you the name of the channel I'm thinking of. And we go to the YouTubes. And we just go to my history, because I think he was like one of the last Smiths I watched. Yeah, he was one of the last Smiths I watched yesterday. Go here. My wife happens to be on here at the moment. I need to remember to get a keyboard protector for this thing. It is so covered in coal dust. All right, let's see. History. Hey, look at that. I'm trending in my own channel. Now, that isn't right. Who am I signed in as? Because as much as I like her work, I did not watch the Damascus Viking Siax Path of Fire yesterday. Must have accidentally clicked on it and then clicked on something else. Okay, there we go. Waters Ironworks. There we go. Waters Ironworks. That's what who it was I was watching. Oh yes, thank you for if you do smoosh that like button. I definitely appreciate it. And get that to remind me later. Well, hello, Fluffy Boy. One of my turkeys is standing right outside visiting me. Now round this up. We're just making another S hook that we're going to curl cue again. The S hook that I did last week, I got to do a little bit of adjustment on it. That looks pretty rounded up. Let's give it a little brush before well, you know what? We're going to brush it and then we'll scroll it after I heat it up. It really needs to be warm for that brushing to do any good. Right here. Wait. 80s? 80s? Where? 80s? In winter? I didn't think you were in Florida. It's the only place well, I mean, California would do the same, but we're going to have a last gasp. Something cold. We're going to get another cold snap this week, I'm told. Don't need to overheat it. The only reason I'm brushing it is just to get it to be a smoother surface. It's not going to prevent it from scaling up again. That it wants to do right away. But if we can start with a smoother surface, it makes a prettier scroll. Brush that over into a nice little bend. I don't like it. It's not warm enough to bend the way I want, so get it just a little warmer. Doesn't take a lot with this tiny stuff. Easy to burn. There we go. And that forge scale just pops right off when you're smacking at it, so good enough. Nice little rounded scroll, small enough that a pot handle can go on it. I'm getting a nice little cave built up here. And put a little coal on top. Get that cave working even better for me. Trying to get better fire control. William Basta spent a lot of time proving to me why that's a good thing. Well, not to me specifically, but you know, he did prove it to me. Of course, I just broke my little cave I was building. How smart. All right. Using your little scroll as a poker probably isn't the smartest thing to do. I just want to roll it up just a little tighter. There we go. That is done. Now we move on to the next phase. Which is we will get it a little deeper in the fire. Scroll up. Warm up the other areas. Turn it into the 1/2 of an S. Hey, Jurgen. Texas. Plant the second week of February usually. Yeah, never froze. Yeah, weather's weird lately. All right, and that's where I get for running my mouth. Let's see if I screwed it up. I did not. Yes, I did. No, I didn't. We'll see. This one might end up being discarded. We'll find out when I deal with it. But let's get the wacky, no bin, marky. I also learned a little bit about why my scrolls always wanted to twist when I was working over the horn. Real straightforward reason. The horn, if you work perpendicular to the line of that horn, let me show you. I am not in the right angle to demonstrate that, but real straightforward thing to do to make it so I am. Let's get my finger so we can see it. Pull out, pruny fingers, must be cold. All right, there we go. Let me heat this up again. Try not to burn it up in the fire. One of the things he said that made a whole heck of a lot of sense is if we work parallel to the step here, things are going to go cattywonk. But if you go perpendicular to the angle of the horn, you're going to get a lot better results. Things aren't going to go cattywonk as long as you keep working along that, with that in mind. So figured I'd try it. Still seem to have a problem, so I don't know that he's wrong. I also don't know that he's right. So let's try to get some of this back in line. There we go. Had to get the curl line back up again. Get some straightening up going on there. All right, now we need to continue bringing it around. So I will do that after I warm it back up. At this point, it's not cold. I would burn myself still, but it'll move a lot easier. Was I doing that? That's my brother. How's it going, Jeremy? There doesn't appear to be enough coal down in there, in my opinion. We're going to bring some more up on the sides here and feed that piece right in. There we go. Get some airflow. All right, let's try that again. If I keep feeding it perpendicular to that horn, look at that. He happens to know what he's talking about. Of course, he was a blacksmith scholar, so I would expect he would. Of course, now I've over curled it, but I can bring that back out again. That's easy. You just pull. You can see the tricks of the trade. You pull, and it pulls it right back out. Yeah, very good. He's absolutely right. Of course, if you don't start it that way, of course, it doesn't go nice and easy, but you get it started the right way, you can keep feeding it perpendicular to the angle, And lo and behold, it actually keeps the dang thing straight as it goes around it. I've often heard not to use the horn for the purposes of creating, or shaping, but as a way of guiding. And now I'm starting to understand what they mean by that better than I had before. So that takes care of that. Now I have to decide how much I'm going to cut off here again. It's always the hard part. Let's look at the one I have. The one I have. The one I... The one... You know, having this close of a view of this. There we go. The one I have. I'm going to take this one, and look at that. They're pretty darn close to the same. That was what I was shooting for, right? Without a jig. If you want things to be exactly the same, get yourself a jig. I don't see if Shane's on here this time. Let me see what's going on. You know, I've noticed that myself. Now I got to highlight this so I can read. I have noticed that myself, that for some reason, and I'm trying to figure out who it is, the Alexis Project. Is that you, Sally? Or is that another Alexis out there? But yeah, YouTube notifications for live streams kind of stink. It's all the more reason why I really have to get into a better practice of going live 10 minutes before I actually go live. Or at least 5 minutes. Yes, the get jiggy with it. I'm going to figure that out. My wife was saying that the only concern is if anybody out there gets annoyed that I've used a copyrighted title of a song, but I think it's worth the risk. I'm not planning on making money on this anyway. I talked to Shane about it. He gave me permission to use that. And then I'm going to donate the proceeds to charity. I am very tempted, because we're talking a Will Smith song, of donating it to his son's charity for water availability, water cleanliness, things like that. So, all right, I think where I need to cut it is about there. That is getting a little close to the too hot zone, so let's go ahead and cut that off. Cool that off. All right. Soon I'll have a hot cut, and I can do this without a saw. That will be awesome. All right. I think it was, let me make sure that's, well, actually, it'll be fine right there. Now, that's on the ground, so let's just assume it's hot. Grab a pair of tongs. I'm going to need them anyway. Not those, these. Those have sized for a bigger stock. This'll do. All right. Just brushing the dirt off. Kevin were here, he'd be telling everybody they need to take a drink. I'm going to tell everybody I'm taking one. And there we go. Let's go here. Nope, over here. Here we go. Smithy. I'm going to stand here and join you guys in a conversation for a minute. Okay, cool. Yeah, so you've gotten the same idea. Are you folks thinking about live streaming over, on Twitch as well? Because I'll do the same thing if that's the case. That way I get a better chance of being notified that you're going live. Good old agua. Grab it from the other end and start the process all over again. The neat thing about making S-hooks is it's a fairly straightforward process that you just repeat twice. Then you can get fancy with it if you like. Let's do that. Let's get a nice clip on there. All right. And you can see why I put charcoals in there. They're probably not all burnt up yet, but my fire's died down quite a lot just by getting myself ready for the next stage. Not enough that it'll actually be a problem, but you can imagine it'll quickly be a problem if I hadn't come back about this time. Nice thing about working with coal, unlike charcoal, is it goes out. I know that doesn't sound like a nice thing, but at the end of your smithing session, you can just leave it alone and you can be lazy like I've been and not maintain your forge. And you can still actually smith the next session. Of course, I'm only smithing 2-hour sessions. You know, a real smith is doing it for 8, 10, 12 hours. And so they have to probably clean their forge a lot more often than I do, but it's still worth doing. Let's go ahead and get some of this down in there so I have material to burn. I have to pay more attention how he did that. He had himself a nice cave, but what about the fact that you still need to have fuel in there under the cave? Look how nice and hot it is though today. Even I can see it's hotter than it was burning before. All right, let's get in here. Get this out of my way. Let's give you guys a better view. We'll go ahead and set this in there and pray it doesn't, so there's no air going in, so all it should be doing is maintaining temp. Get you back to the anvil. Get the anvil view where it's actually useful again. Other way. Hey, look at that. You can almost see my fingerprints. All right, scroll. Scroll. That's what I need to do. I'm actually probably going to do exactly that. I'm probably going to retheme my whole live stream. It's not going to really change what I show, but how I show it. Just to be more reflective of, you know, me instead of some random theme I found out there that was shaped right. Clean it up. Just like Play-Doh. Anybody else play with a lot of Play-Doh as a kid? All right. Go ahead and knock corners off. Gotta hit a little harder at the further back where it's thicker. And what William was saying is you gotta think of a 60-40 rule when it comes to hammer versus anvil. What you're seeing on as a result of your hammer is the 60. When you flip it over, you'll see about 40% of that effort was rewarded back to you by the anvil. He's not wrong. It's pretty close to true. All right, I'm going to put it back in the fire. We've got a nice octagon going there. Back in the fire, just to warm it up a bit. make it easier to take out those facets. You know, I do. My boys are all grown up now, but there are some things I do miss about having a little one. The grandkids are so far away, otherwise I'd be playing with them. Nice. Let's roll a little chili season. You stop, Daniel, when you run out of charcoal. But in my case, I have a hard time doing that too because I got so much just scrap wood around. I cook my own. All right. Notice I decided to start reading and talking, so I stopped. I'm starting to learn from my mistakes. Don't talk and turn at the crank at the same time. If you still want your piece to be, your piece is a really big piece. Not the small stuff though. That small stuff will go fast. Talking tappity tap, that's easy. And yeah, this is the tappity tap mode. I'm not actually trying to forge at this point. I'm knocking down corners. And I'm kind of doing it randomly, but I'm also looking to see where I see shiny spots. And then we go around the shiny spot. And the next thing you know, the shiny spot's not a shiny spot. It's a different shiny spot than the rest of the shiny spots. Alright, that's nice and round. Or as close as it needs to be. I'm going to go ahead and smooth that off a little. A good butcher block brush with spring steel. Are those called tines? Will act as a kind of a smoothing file on your material. Look at that, nice and shiny all the way around. There are tiniest little I'm not giving you a good view. You're looking at my hammer. Tiniest little facets, but nothing that really stands out to be knocked down. Let's go ahead and warm it up and scroll it up. Scroll it to the same direction as the existing hook. That's a lot of peppers. Last year was awful for us regarding planting without having to do my own watering. Most of my planting, because I'd have a black thumb, is fruit trees. So I'll put out fruit trees. I don't think we're going to plant any more this year. We got to wait and see how things go, because last year we planted some new fruit trees, and the year before too, and they all died because of an awful season for fruiting trees. We had very few walnuts on my tree the prior year, and this year, or last year, whatever, we had none. So fingers crossed, we've had a really good rainy season this year. So fingers crossed, we'll do all right this year. We're definitely getting one more frost this year, we're told. Then we'll work on that too. I've got to go out right after that frost and trim back some fruit trees. go. Let's not make it too big, Jack. That's really pretty. That'll probably go on the side with the curlicue though, because I think that's going to be too big to put the pot handle over. Nobody will see how pretty that was. Well, except my brother and my sister-in-law. They'll see it. Let's go ahead and bend it around. This hook might be longer than the last one, I can't tell yet. I really need to just start pre-cutting all the same lengths. I think it's 9 inches, but what I really need to do is, before I start next time, actually I think what I have next for the next time is just the right length, but we'll see. But I'll measure it first. Yeah, let's poke it further back. There we go. Uh-oh, I see a new channel popping up. How to grow good peppers. All right, let's see what we can do here. Go right out here. What's really fun is I know I'm going to curl this all the way around, so. But that's good enough for the moment. Get everything in alignment. The curlicue got a little twisted, so we'll twist it back. All right. I think it's time to twist this up. Decorative twist time. That means take off the nice ring there. Let's try to get this where I'm actually heating the parts I want. I think what I need to do is temporarily dial it back to a 2 instead of a 3. I don't need as big a forge pot right now. I'm not. Yeah. Let's do it there for a minute. Oh, now I'm looking back. Habanero, different pepperoncinos. Yeah, we're huge, flowering, low fruit. Yeah, that's what I saw before. Miracle Grow garden soils. I had 5-gallon buckets at work. An auto water system. Okay, there you go. I need to set up, I definitely would want to get a garden going. It's just finding the time to do that along with everything else I'm working on. I'm doing pretty good having chickens and eggs, so. Let's turn this around before I end up burning off some sort of curlicue here. Put it in the other way before it cools all off and it becomes pointless. All right, let's try that. Put this away for a minute. Fire's good and hot, but let's make sure it stays that way. There we go. Nice airflow. Let's take it out and look before I burn it up. Oh, good. We're now in the part I want to get hot. Let's see if I've got, just in case anybody wasn't able to see that comment, he said, wait a minute, you know what, Sully, I never asked your pronouns because I've seen you go by Alex and Alexis and Sully, and you know, it just seems polite to ask, so correct me if I've actually called you by the wrong one. It says, I bought the Miracle Grow garden soil as I had to plant in 5-gallon buckets at work. This year, I'm going to plant at home since I have an auto water system. But then it looks like Jurgen saw what you said. So I don't know that you were too long. Cinnamon rolls. Oh, yum. Cinnamon rolls for breakfast. I know what I'm getting to enjoy when I get back into the house. All right, let us go to our favorite cam. You only get a small view of the slack tank this time, it looks like. Get a hold of that, put that there. Give it a lovely twist. There we go. Need to do a little bit of straightening. That'll be easy enough to do. Come on, into the tongs. Thank you. There we go. Nice and straight. All right. Let us bring that the rest of the way around. She, her. All right, I'll keep that in solidly there. Complete dibs? No, I scrolled back. I saw it's always all hers. But the fact is, it's actually all her dad's, and if I'm lucky, I get to have some. Chili is life. Interesting. So, is what I'm seeing then the fact that comments on YouTube may still be there, but then it's Restream that's actually filtering it out. All right, let's tighten this up, because now I know this is going to be my go all the way around curly Q. And this time I actually do want it to offset, so it's funny, now this time I'm not going to get it to offset. Let us grab the scrolling tongs and do it the way I normally do it. You know what? It probably would be nice to actually scroll it around the same way every time for my brother's sake, which means it needs to go the other way. There we go. We'll keep heating that up. We'll make it work. So it turns out the rods are definitely a good 1/8 inch wide. So let's go ahead and see what my rule says about the gap I left it, because it did not fit over last time. Turn it on. We'll switch from millimeters to inches. And we will come on. Zero it. Okay, let's try zeroing that again. There we go. So 0.25 is probably what I need to make it. Right now it's 0.19. So we're going to put that in the fire too. Try not to burn it up in the process. And get that fixed. I'm not going to need the hammer anymore for now. Have a great Saturday, Jeff. Thanks for stopping in. Wow, need to scroll. Chili is life. Cinnamon odor. This YouTube went to Twitch to sub, then went back to the tube. Went to grab the chainsaw and get busy trimming back the French row. Yeah, French row. Okay, enjoy that. Explaining. Yeah, that's what I've been noticing too, Alexis, and it's frustrating because of Roy's channel mostly. I want to be able to jump on Roy's channel, and I just never seem to catch it. Number one, it's during my work day normally. But yesterday, for example, I knew it was on from 2 to 4 my time. And I was like, I'm off because I took an extra day off. I'm going to jump in there. And maybe I get myself a treadle hammer. That would be awesome. Most of the time I know he's got a very well-attended channel. The odds are very low. But hell, you know, give him some you know, attendance love, as he's done it for me a couple times. Why wouldn't I? I mean, I follow his channel religiously. Not that I'm a religious man, but he makes great content. And there we go. I'm going to get this in there. All right. All that coal I banked is now big old chunks of coke. Anyway, And yet I never got the notification. I went on at 2, he wasn't on yet. And I never got the notification he went live until he was already done. I was like, son of a gun. I would ask him to do the same thing, get up there on Twitch and to let us know when he's going live that way. Except he doesn't need his attendance to be any higher. He's doing all right. Let's stoke that a little bit. There we go. There's the airflow we want. So we can burn up all our stuff we got in the fire. Especially when you get 2 little things in the fire at the same time. All right. Perfect. Now I can spread that just a little wider. Show you how I'm doing it. All it takes. It's probably wider than it needs to be, but the good news is because it curly cues all the way around, it'll not come off, but it will do the nice twist and lift when you're ready for that to be the thing. So that one is now back to being done. Let's go ahead and give it a little brush. Knock off the scale that it just built up. Go ahead and get the wax out for it. The biggest difference between him and me is he knows what he's doing, because he's a real blacksmith who makes a living doing it. So he deserves to have all the attendance he has. Plus he's pretty awesome as far as giving to the community. It's amazing. He's not wealthy, and yet he gives away a lot of stuff. All right. Yes, sir. You're right. The train just went by. They love gobbling at the train. You guys do know I'm not the one you need to impress, right? There's a hen in there. It's more deserving of your time. Right? You guys got to see. They're just being. And I'll demonstrate because it's hilarious. You put this down so I don't burn them. Don't scare them. Oof. My stupid human trick. They're not mean at all. They are very sweet boys. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. But they'll be standing around all floofed up and sneezing at you. And if you don't know what I mean when I say sneezing at you, you just got to watch them and listen. Hard to hear when the train's going by, but once it's done going by, I'll go back out and demo. All right. That is now back to ready. We'll go ahead and wipe off the excess. Still so hot that it is smoking at the one end. But not so hot that it's all burning off, so getting a good season. All right, leave that there for a minute. Let's go back to the other piece. Hot on the heels of the one is another train. Sounds like a passenger train. Yep, Amtrak. I really feel for those folks in Ohio. Damn folks out there. But here, you got to listen as they go poof. You gonna make the noise? There it is. And it makes a thumping sound too when they do it. Sorry. Did you need attention? Yo, big hug. Big boy. There you go. Little nonsensical, non-blacksmith entertainment right there. All right, look at all that cool stuff that was said. Now I got to scroll back and read it. What is H13? My wife asks. Got it. Oh, we're covering H13 tomorrow on Blacksmiths Church. Okay, cool. I'm going to learn a lot because I know just as much as he just said. Air hardening steel. I wonder if that's what my jackhammer bit's made of. Because I hear it's air hardening. That before live streams would have 30-minute notices before the stream starts, but most now. She's always there, Alexis, but she sits over. I'm watching it on my iPad, and she's sitting over in another chair. So I'm hearing it, and then she's wanting to have a conversation with me while you guys are also talking. So I listen to you with one ear and listen to her and chat with the other ear, and sometimes share with her what you guys are talking about. She has enjoyed the history stuff. Real dumb. I would tell a story, but it's an NSFW type of story. So, Jurgen. SM Ret Pekka is Jurgen. Or accept terms, as it says. All right. Let's get this other one. It's been just kind of staying warm so it doesn't burn. Let's get this other one done. All right. We'll come back over here. We will not touch the hot metal sitting on my anvil, or most likely still hot metal. Instead, all right, yep, I made this hook way longer. I might still include it in his kit, just in case he has a short pot that he needs to, he wants to hang up, that's hard to get at otherwise. I also didn't make the twist the same. So, I don't know. I could put it back in the fire and make the twist the same. That would be one way to deal with this. I definitely got the gap right this time. I can see that. And for aesthetics purposes, what I like to get going on, you can see it here, is these two parallel, and this with a real nice diagonal between the two. So that's what I'm going for aesthetically. I also would like this to be a little more straight up and down. So let's heat it back up. Let's get the wacky no marky marky. this set here is not a bad set. I didn't make this one though. This one I bought probably from Blacksmith Depot, but I can't say for sure. One of these days I'm going to make my way to a farrier supply that's in Tukwila. I mean, not Tukwila. Or do I mean? No. Darn it. Tacoma. Just up the road from us. Alright, I think that's hot enough to get me where I need to be. And grab the appropriate hammer. Try to straighten that. Oop. Twisted it real good there. No marks, but it'll move metal still. There we go. Get it planar, coplanar. I think that's the right term. Wow. Yeah, I'm not sending this one to my brother. I don't know what I'll do yet with it, but I'm not sending it to my brother. It's not what I would want it to represent. It's not bad, but it's just not quite what I want. Now this end needs to get twisted right. And the fact is, I don't like that twist. That twist is not tight enough. It's not pretty enough. So we're going to go ahead and warm it up and twist it a little more. That's also no longer parallel. So I've got to figure out how to move that where I want it. I know how to do it. So let's make that happen. You move something one place and you got to adjust in all the other places. German Select. Cool. Yeah, you know, every now and then, so it's not absolutely certain where I got that tong or the one that I'm holding now, but both of these are definitely, let me just put up to the other screen, it'll be a better view. Both of these I bought, there we go. And, I mean, you can tell they're, you know, modern manufacturing techniques. Because they're just that smooth and that, you know, consistent. When ball ends are identical in both cases, you know, when the the transitions between the rounded and the flattened are identical, when the jaws are identical, that means it's not hand forged. Now, that doesn't mean that it's not, you know, how can I put it? There's probably a right way to say this. That doesn't mean it wasn't forged by a human. It just means that they used tooling that results in very consistent results. And that goes back to, you know, getting jiggy with it. And they probably didn't do it at an anvil with a hammer. They probably used a power hammers because they sell these by who knows how many at a time in a day. So obviously they're going to look really nice. All the rest that I have, which are a grand total of 4, one of them's broken. This one is a what did you call it? I know what you called it, and now it's split my brain. Ken's Rapid Tongs, a set of Ken's Rapid Tongs, because I got tired of trying to figure out how to hold on to a pair of, I mean not a pair, a railroad spike. So that's me reaching out and getting that. And you can also tell it's one of my earliest works, though it came from, you know, consistent stock that I didn't rework. It's rough. I could clean up these reins quite a bit. They're quite gnarly. The twists on this part are quite gnarly and not quite beautiful or anything like that. But they work real well. And then the rest are ones that I took railroad spikes and made the practice. I mean, that's what the point was to see, do I have the skills necessary to take metal in one form and turn it into metal into another form. This was one of the first ones I did, flat jaw tongs. I mean, each one of these is one railroad spike reformed. And I overworked it and I overheated it and et cetera, and that piece came off. So I need to, one day I'll get into the garage where I can get back to my welder and I'll fix this pair of flat jaw tongs and have a spare. But in the meantime, you might have been around to see this. I went and created this pair of flat jaw tongs. But before I did that, I'll come back to that, I made this pair of bolt jaw tongs. And they're okay. They need, they could be done better, and I'll probably make another pair that's done better. Flared at the end instead of ball end, because I didn't really have the skill yet to do ball end, so I'm still doing square end. On this one, this is the last pair I made, flat jaw tong, ball ends. They're not gorgeous ball ends, but they're ball ends. I feel pretty proud of these. They aren't, they're still not the best thing, and I probably will end up rounding these further up, since I do sometimes find myself grabbing further up. But again, each tong half was a railroad spike. So now that I've done them, and I've done them as often as I have, I probably would not forge the reins as long as I have. I leave them a little bit thicker because I don't need the length, it turns out. So, and then, yeah, that'd be where that would be. So, but these, good bought tongs. Okay, now you've used two words I don't know, Sully. Stamode pay? Is Pay Tool is a brand, I guess. I've not seen that one before. Drop forged with dies. Yeah, I suspected as much. Yeah, the wolf jaws are Caliburn, they say, stamped right on them. And this one actually has a mark on it too. Let's see what that is. That says it's not forge. Wow. Forgetongs.com. I bet those were an Amazon special, is what I bet that was. Let's pull this out of the fire. It's been warmed up multiple times now. It doesn't need to be all that warm to accomplish my goal anyway. And now it's way wider than it needs to be, but that's okay. We can pull it back in. There we go. Good enough. Let's go ahead and warm up the rest and see about that extra twist I'd like. That should be fun to do. Let's see if I can figure it out. Okay. See, I wanted to put the ball ends just so I could prove that I could, Daniel. That's the only reason I did that. The flare ends work fine. The ball ends I don't have a problem with. I don't know which ones I like better. As long as it makes the tong clip not fall off very easy, I'm happy. Three-eighths-inch round reins instead of forging them out. Forge the nibs and weld on reins. You know, I want to do that at some point just to see if I can. Haven't done it yet. All right, there's that. Put that there. There it is. And start twisting. Half twist. Wow. Did not twist where I wanted it to, so let's get it warmer where I want it to twist. That leg vise sucks the heat out real fast. Because it's longer, I had to put more in the way of twists in. All right. Yeah, I ended up buying mine from someone on Amazon. My railroad spikes. Even though I live along railways, it's illegal to go along railways and just pick up the ones you find popped out there. Take care, Daniel. Have a great Saturday. See you tomorrow. But Jurgen, you still haven't said what you're going to do with them. All right, let's try this one more time. Exciting stuff. We'll go to the vise. Come on. Been futzing around with the S-hooks for an hour. Well, no, I did lose a lot of time getting a fire set up this morning after cleaning it out before when I discovered it was a mess. So much dragon snot. All right, there we go. Let's get it in here. Quickly. Get my wrench on there. Come on. Get my wrench on there. There we go. Twist. Yeah, that's better. All right, much better. Not perfect, but much better. All right, much better. Much happier with that. That hook needs to go in my pocket. Now let's get things straightened out. Yep. First things first. Get that flattened back out. Let's see if I can very carefully tap that where I want it to be. All right, heater back up. Twist it where it needs to be. You can definitely make knives out of them that appeal to folks. I don't know if I would call them excellent knives for a railroad spike, but they definitely have some mass appeal. Now, if you're doing some San Mai with that leaf spring and the railroad spike, then you've done somebody a real service. You've made something that has appeal, that'll last a while, and hold an edge. So that'd be a fun project. All right, we're going to try to get that back. There we go. There we go. And then pull that out, pull that out, straighten that up. Takes a lot of fiddling to get all the things aligned the way you want it to. There we go. Be visually, aesthetically pleasing, considering this is going on in somebody's kitchen. Probably mine. This would be a lot easier if I had a torch, because then I could do very focused heats as to where I want my bends to actually be. All right. You can see what I'm seeing right here. Let's see if I can zoom in just a little. Ah, my lighting moved. No wonder I'm not getting the... There we go. Let's do that. You can see here that I've got a bend here I don't really want. So I got to figure out what I need to do. I'm going to warm it back up again. I'm going to hyperextend this, and then I'll get that bend back where I want it. What it is I want the twist to happen right about here, not here. So getting the heat where I need it is hard to do in a solid fuel, well, any fuel forge, to be honest. Easier in a solid fuel forge than in a gas forge, but still not easy. Would be much easier if I had a torch. That'll happen. think I got the heat where I want it this time. Now, because I've got that space, let's get this out of my way for a second. I can come in here, correct the overbending situation. There we go. And now, just this, back to where I want it. Let's see if that actually did what I wanted. Courtesy bends now become discourteous. All right, heat that up, put it back where I want it. Michael Cthulhu? Now I'm very confused. Very nice. Yeah, that torch is going to have to be something that happens here soon. I've got the propane tanks from when I had a working gas forge. I'll get my gas forge working again one day. But I want a propane oxy torch. There we go. That gets me a lot closer to where I want to be. Much, much closer to where I want to be. Things are nice and parallel. Got a nice gap going on. Corkscrews up well. That goes about straight in line with the body of the hook. I'm happy. We can call that one finally done. I'm gonna always wear your safety glasses, boys and girls, when using one of these whirling metal thingamabobs. During Mr. Waters' talk about safety, which is I think session 1.1 or 1.2 of the new Abana program, he talked about things regarding, you know, safety glasses and wearing leather shoes rather than, you know, anything that's got natural materials and such things as that. I'll add one more, and that is, you know, wear things that actually have some heft. There's a reason we wear leather aprons, and it's, if you're working with, you know, whirling dervishes of death, it's best that you don't go through your clothes real fast if the accident should happen and something goes flying. A little light. Any D&D player will tell you better to go out wearing some light leather armor than go bare-chested, unless you're some sort of barbarian. Hey, bro. Well, that's the question I hadn't asked yet, is how many do you need? I don't know how many pots you might want to hang, pots, skillets, etc. So, oh my goodness. Yeah, don't bend over an angle grinder. Not if you got a long beard. Or else you won't have a long beard very long. All right. We're going to go ahead and get another iron in the fire. That one. Ooh, stay out of the way of dropping metal. That's another safety tip. I've always said one about every show. All metal's hot. And that piece of metal I know is hot because it's been sitting preheating on the hood of my forge, my forge hood. So I already know it's hot. When metal flies, don't go to catch it, get out of its way. That's a corollary to that. All right, so with that in mind, let's get that in the fire. That's probably not the way to do it. Let's think about this a little bit. We'll lay it more on top of it. There we go. And pull some coke on top of that. Let's grab the other piece because I know it's probably warm enough to... That other coal back there has been doing a good job of just keeping cool with the fact it was wet when I put it in there. Get this back out. We'll need this. We won't need this. I'm going to switch to a heavier hammer. We'll need that, but we'll need it only in a minute. I'll put that over there for a second. There. Okay. Put this back in here for a minute. Let's get some stuff hot. Let's open up the vent and get 3 open. So, okay, that's a good question. Let me show you. As a matter of fact, I'll use this as a tool for that. Switch to the big screen. Smithy? Let's touch this. Okay, good. So I've got another one in my back pocket, so I can show this to you. There we go. The way this works is you got your rack going this way from where you know how you're hanging your racks, hanging your pots. So your pots would hang down on a hook, you know, this way. The problem is that most hooks, so you do this, oh, I did it the wrong way. You come in this way, twist, and now they're there. Now, unlike most S hooks that these things come with, it can't come off unless you reverse that process. So there you go. All right. And then, of course, you would hang your pot on that the way you would think. Your pots typically have, you know, a hole in its handle. Most do. And you would just, like that, through the hole on the handle. I mean, that seems pretty obvious. I'm pretty sure that's not what you were asking, but I wanted to make sure I covered all of that. Make sure we're getting air through there because it doesn't seem like it. There's the air. This is the point where it'd be nice to have an electric blower. Something I still haven't taken the time to deal with. All that stuff that you do, that if you were a pro, you wouldn't put up with the things I put up with. You would just go and get yourself a torch. You would go and spend the time to put an electric blower on. This is one of the fun things about being a hobbyist. You always have something to look forward to as far as how can you improve your hobby. Okay. Spin it around. Get the other side. Show you actually what I'm doing rather than you staring at empty space. We're just doing like we would with a good old cast iron skillet. Reapply where it's some of it's smoked off. And then take off the excess. So, man, you know what? That actually turned out pretty good. Maybe I will include this one as one I send you, Jay. It isn't the same as the last one. I'll show you that. This one's shorter, but having hooks of different lengths isn't a bad thing, because that means you can hang different length pots. So I think I will include this one in that mix because it came out pretty good. There we go. Had to get it in the camera just the right way. So I'll let that cool off. Let's get that other piece of bigger metal hot enough to move it, move it, move it. Up there. This one back in my pocket. 4 to 6. Okay. 6. I will shoot for 6 then. I need to come up with a way to mount this in a useful place. Let's put it right. You know what? Right there is actually going to work great. I'll put it right there. I do think I want it pivoted. What I'm talking about is my stream deck has been out of reach almost the whole live stream. So every now and then I remember to hit it, but I decided having it sitting under my anvil, out of your view, wasn't a good place for it. It turned out. So there we go. Yeah, it wasn't a good place for it. I kept dropping things on it. I've got a few Mars, where things have melted on the buttons, or melted the buttons when things fell. So I don't think I ever got this button to work. No, I'll have to work on that. The silly button. I haven't been drop forging very much lately. It's all been, that'll change right now though, because I'm about to work with a big piece of metal I can't hold on to very well. Thank you, Karen. Yeah, all the pot hangers I've ever seen have just little tiny S hooks. And they're all the same length, and they pop off every time you take the pot off the rack. So making it so basically you can't put the pot rack over your head. You have to bring it down to a level where you can easily reach to hang the hook and then hang the pot on that short hook. This allows you to hang it much higher, so you can put longer handled things in it. We have ours in the corner. We're not over an island, so it's worked out pretty well. Let's go ahead and verify that we've got airflow underneath this thing. There we go. Put that over. There we go. That's more like it. Hey, Eric. You know, better late than never. It's always great to have more of the community dropping by. But if you don't get to make it every live stream, that's fully understandable. We have lives. You know, this is not a priority. This is just a fun place to hang out. So I appreciate you doing it. It's fun. I made this channel and the corresponding Facebook channel just so my family and friends could see what I'm doing. You know, family are always like, he's a blacksmith, but they can't ever actually, you know, point anybody to anything that I've done. That's why I'm making something for my brother. And then friends will be like, well, what is it like to blacksmith? You make knives? And I'm like, no, there are things you can do in blacksmithing that don't involve knife making. So, blacksmithing is way more than just making knives. That's bladesmithing, and bladesmithing is an art all of its own. All right, how hot are we getting? Oh, good. We're getting nice and hot. Let's see if I can do something with that. Move that out of my way just a hair. That worked for a good long time. We'll keep at it. That was me practicing some of that good hammer form that I'm not so good at normally. And the question is, how do I get that recentered? Let's hit it from the other side. That did it. The problem is, it's not, I'm going to have to give it, I am going to have to get the collar hot and give it a twist. So let's do that. And get it further in the fire, disrupt everything, and try to get it back into place. All right. Of course, I wasn't showing you anything of what I was doing. And this time, let's go ahead and switch back here. And for a change, I will see about demonstrating some of that good hammer form in the process. Let me pull this all back a little bit. Let's see, do I see? Yes, I do. You don't really need to see my face in this, but you do need to see my shoulder. So let's get it up there. Oh, it is time to bring out some tools and work on my talk about servicing your forge. This morning, if you were here, you saw me talking about how much dragon snot I pulled out of my forge by not properly servicing the forge. You now can hear me prattle on about the fact that I haven't been maintaining my blower very well. I just noticed that the plate on the crank was rattled loose. I need to get out here and close that up better and oil it and so forth. So more maintenance I need to do. Let's get this opened up well. think that's good enough. All right, let's get this thing hot. Yeah, right? Make me a knife. Yep. I will be making a knife here soon because I've now made a few things out of my buddy's 76, I think it is, Nova's original OEM coil springs, and I owe him a knife out of that. So maybe I will make him. No, he actually asked for a specific type of knife. I remember now. He wants a knife for his barbecue, I think is what he said. Let's go ahead and flip that up a little bit there. Hey, take care, Jay, Karen. Have a great weekend. Thanks for stopping in. Love you guys. I'm going to show you guys something funny that I learned. That right there is coke that has fallen out. Coke is weird stuff. It's not hot to the touch. It's only hot once flame and air get on it. Unlike a hot charcoal. You know, you got people walking on hot coals. Yeah, it's true. They're hot coals. They're feeling it. I've picked up hot charcoals from time to time. Gotta be fast when you're doing that. But coke is amazing. It burns really hot, but if you're not throwing air through it, if it's not red, it's weird, you can safely touch it. All right, this is hot enough now for me to do a twist. Let me switch over to that view, vise. Of course, it'd be great if I were actually holding it with the side I need to hold it. There we go. Now, that is a square spot, and I can very easily see where I'm out of square, and we can make it square by grabbing it with a hefty set of and giving it a twist, and now we're square. It's that easy. Now I'm going to forge it a bit. It'll probably go out of square again in the process. Let's put it back in the fire first. See if it untwists itself in the process. That can happen from time to time. I've heard people talk about it. Well, the way I put it, Eric, is you can make some amazingly beautiful knives, and the process can be quite interesting, except for the fact that there is a lot of grinding and hand sanding involved. I don't know anybody who finds those things interesting. My knives will be forged to finish, light grinding, probably no hand sanding. Did you get yourself a nice long weekend there, Alexis? I accidentally took a long weekend this week. Last company I worked for had a great practice where once a month, so you could take care of some personal business during those hours that, you can only do during the weekdays. You'd get a well-being day every month. I'm doing something weird here, and then I'm trying to square up the base right above the collar so that it doesn't want to twist on me again. I don't know if it's weird. It just seems like a weird process. I've not done it before. It's also very hard to do when you can't hold on to the thing very well. Let's get the corners again, see if I can do it that way. Okay, that seems to have gotten it. Now everything stays in line and square. So I decided I needed to take a well-being day yesterday, try and get some personal stuff taken care of, only to discover we have President's Day off. Not that I could have done any business that day, but I did end up with a 4-day weekend that way. An inadvertent 4-day weekend. Yeah, of making blades, tedious at best. As hard as you work, Sully, you deserve some days off. So, glad to hear you get them. From time to time, at least. All right, let's see about that hammer form. Okay, well, now I know where there was a hot spot in my forge, because it got hot at the end, where I need the least amount of work. Slow that air down a little bit, doesn't need to be so harsh. Oh, let's fix that. Anvil cam. I wasn't doing anything yet anyway. You missed the part where I was squaring the collar. Not the collar itself, but the neck of the tool at the collar. All right. Let's do this. All right. I think that's almost all the forging I need to do in that direction. That's what I need. Let's get that. That is what I want to do next. It needs to be hotter again. All right. That's pretty good. We're pretty central. Pretty simple. All right, back into the fire. Third Thursday through Sunday every month. Okay, so I understand how you're able to not burn out so easily. That's smart. Still a lot of work. Yeah, my producer is awful. But you know, it's a family thing. Can't really fire him. Probably piss off his wife or something. All right. Let's see if we can spread that so I can have an even bigger cutting surface. It's coming along real nice. Let's clean that up. You can see all the divots it puts in there. So then, but it's a nice clean on that side because as he said it, this goes back to the 60-40 rule. The anvil is giving me back 40% and always has the whole surface pushing back, whereas this gives me 60% effort, which means I can push some serious divots in there. But it, yeah. So let's clean that up. And I think we're done with that. I think the tool then is to the point where it just needs to be sharpened. And I know I'm running long, but I would like to actually get this done. We'll go ahead and let that anvil push back 100%. And it did a pretty good job. Probably would have done more if I'd had it hotter. So let's get it hot again. Finish it up. Let's see if I changed scene when the whole thing fell. I did not. How about that? So yeah, some good hammer action there. So while I would say, while Mr. Waters isn't wrong, and the Smiths who commented on his bit weren't wrong either, about you know, a lot of new Smiths spend a lot of time tippity-tapping rather than giving it some good solid swings. It very much depends on what you're forging, how much mass you need to move, but what it also proves, one of the points he did make, I should say, that was extremely valid and without context, because heavier hammers aren't what's needed. Good form is realizing that you can make the hammer heavier, but if you just swing faster, swing that mass faster, you get squared the amount of return on your investment rather than just a multiple. The formula has something to do with mass times velocity squared is power. You can increase the mass, or you can just, and it's not the first time I've heard it. I heard Hoffy say the same thing. And that planished that almost all out. Let's see if I can get it all out. All right. You still see some signs that I beat the heck out of it with a cross peen hammer. And smooth some of that out here. I can tell today is going to be an ear ringing day because I neglected to put my ear protection in. All right. Getting that forge to finish done on this particular blade too, because this is a blade. Fortunately, it's made of a steel that I don't have to go through a lot of heat and quench and cool, temper and all that. All right. And I'm going to want to push that back in a little bit, just so I can get the shape the way I want it. Let's get it hot enough to make it move. It won't move if I don't. Force, yes. Well, force is mass times acceleration. And acceleration is velocity over time. Change of velocity over time. Delta V over T. Power is something that stems from that, though. Am I the only one? Was I indoctrinated to spent too much time in Episcopalian church? Because all I ever want to say as soon as I hear that is and also with you. I'm going to pay for this later. I'm hurting already. And I already took ibuprofen and Tylenol. But I'm real happy with what's happening here, so. Jump out of the way of falling metal. Everybody take a drink. All of what I'm doing right now is just beautification. There is no reason to do this that I can think of that would change the dynamics of how the blade would work as a tool for cutting metal. It's all just because I want it to be pretty and I want minimal grinding involved because, you know, forge to finish is a skill. it isn't a skill worth doing if you're being a production blacksmith, but all right. That, except for the fact that I want that on the ground again. All right. Yep. Back in the fire. Grab my water. Dead strokes without rebound. That's a specific kind of hammer, right? Gives you that. We're at the point now where there's no sense in having you stare up in space. We can go back here. There we go. Oh, yeah. I can't imagine, I mean, everything I've heard when it comes to forge welding involves, they say, tippity taps. You don't want to be hitting hard, otherwise the material moves across everything else. And I've always wondered, as I watch folks forge weld at a press, if that ends up being an issue for them. All right, I need to get that collar. It's pretty close, but it's just not quite where I want it. Let me see. If I give it a whack. Did I get it? No. I'm going to go let's get the collar hot. Twist it at the vise. But yeah, I did make some Damascus when I had my gas forge working. But I did exactly what I've always heard everybody do, which is just don't smack the heck out of it. Just give it some taps in such a way as to not let your hammer bounce. That you're not trying to move material, you're just trying to get it to stick. So yeah. I'm going to give her one more twist. Over there. I watched Troy over at Bar Run Forge, I think, making some Damascus this week. The process is thrilling to me, even though it's not something I'm likely to do. I need it to actually be the other way because I'm going to end up tapping it too. Knew I was going to go diving for that this week. All right, that's fairly central. Glancing blows to try and get it to be twist the way I want it to be. That's pretty close to where I want it. All right, that's as much as I'm willing to do at that color of material. How much shock did I introduce to that system? And I think the grind will be next week, because I think I am done with that this week. That feels like a good stopping point. Leave it buried in the coal, let it cool off. Actually, I think I'll bring it up to a high temp one more time. Oh, I'll definitely be watching next week. I mean, not next week, tomorrow. Damn it. I'll definitely be watching tomorrow. I'm just going to try and get this up to a good orange temp again, and then let it cool in the forge at from that temp. I know orange is probably not the color that they call it in the books. It's the color I see, though. I think I have a little bit of, I know I have a little bit of grinding to do. Not a whole lot, mainly to put an edge on it, and then just make sure that I don't have to reforge the hardy stem. There we go. That's the color I need, and I think that is the stopping point. Well, everybody, as always, thanks for joining me. It's been a very fun live stream today for me. Making the hook, my brother being able to come on and see it, my sister-in-law being able to come on and see it, and then to go ahead and finish this, finish the forge on the hot cut hardy. That was a heck of a bit of work, but I think it looks really good. It's got a nice width on it. I think I got about 2 inches on that, which is plenty for any of the kind of work I'm doing. So now it's it's ready for just taking my angle grinder to next live stream. So you get to see that excitement, that and making another one of these curly QS hooks. So yeah, love you, bro. Thanks for stopping in, and thank you everybody else for stopping in. Hit that like button, I appreciate it. I'm not really trying to drum up viewership or anything, but it's always nice to see the numbers go up little by little, because that means more folks who may have never even seen blacksmithing before have stopped by and found there to be something, something about this art that pulls them in, like it did me. like it did all you. So until then, love and light. Yeah, buddies?